Let's get it on.
All right, y'all. After all of that with the previous game against Ohio State, you can finally move on and talk about this game with TCU. Now, I've had a lot of Georgia fans ask me about the 3-3-5 defense, and they must be new here because we've already done that before. We'll get to that here in a second. But the 3-3-5 defense, you don't necessarily want to think of it as a nickel defense because of the type of athletes that these guys have to recruit to play a scheme like this. You want to get a proper amount of speed on the field. It's definitely a defense you will find more in one of these passing leagues, which all of these leagues are becoming now, right? All of these conferences, but especially in the Big 12, get a lot more speed on the field, guys who can cover in space, guys who can tackle out in space. But to me, it's a defense that a team like Georgia should be able to handle. And I mean handle physically. Now, look at this, right? It's exactly as it says, a 3-3-5. So 3 down linemen, right, on the line of scrimmage, 3 off-ball linebackers, guys that are backed up. So you got 1, 2, 3 right here on the linemen, and you can see it taking shape right there with the 4, 5, 6 going on here. Now, if you look at this, you're going to have 2 guys who one of them is going to have to play to the strength of the defense. You're going to want to have some really stout linebackers here, 2 linebackers, because they're going to have to fight off a lot of blocks. This is why I don't like a 3-3-5 defense, because of this right here. You leave linemen uncovered. At least with 4 linemen, you can try to keep guys clean in the run game, but with 3, yeah, they're going to have to deal with some traffic. So if you see these guys right here, number 6, number 57 right here, he's going to be your strong side linebacker. Got your middle linebacker right here. He needs to be able to stack and shed blocks. And to a certain degree, so does this guy right here, the weak side player. The weak side linebacker is going to have to be able to cover as well, right? You can get to these guys out, and you can have a linebacker here. He's probably got to be a little bit smaller than the other 2, but he needs to be able to cover, work in reverse, work flat duty, hook curl, all of that, while being able to play in a little bit of traffic himself, depending on the strength of the defense there. Now, if we see this right here, and you can see them shift to their defense. So you see him shift to the strength of the defense here. If this was a run going on here, he'd have to take on probably multiple blockers here. You got a 2 tight set, or you got a H-back here, however you want to call that. Same deal with him right here, scraping through. Somebody has to be able to get off a block. But if you can get your hands on these linebackers like this is what you can get a lot of the times. Yep. You know what I'm saying? These type of big gainers like here. No, obviously not going to get them all the time. These guys play this defense. TCU is a pretty physical defensive team, right? The guys up front and everything like that. But you can see here, man, you adding extra bodies in, and these guys aren't already on the line of scrimmage. So they're going to have to meet this inertia, and that's tough, right? That's really tough to do right here, to be able to get to a block, size it up, make sure that you're able to work both ways right here, and then shed this block to whichever way it's coming. A lot of guys get hung up on blocks. That was the problem with Ohio State's linebacking crew as well, and it could definitely be a problem with TCU here. It should be a problem if you're Georgia, because Georgia should have the best run outfit in the country, the best offensive line, perhaps top 2 or 3 at the very least, top 2 or 3 running back core, everything you can think of, especially when you talk about guys blocking on the perimeter like a Brock Bowers, Granddaddy Washington. Hopefully he's able to play for you guys' sake, and the receivers as well. It could be a long day for TCU if your man Todd Monken doesn't get cute. You know who it was a long day for, who ran this particular defense? Yup, Arkansas. Y'all remember last season when Arkansas came into this particular game right here riding high? They looked like they were about to be the new kings on the block, at least in the Western Conference, right, or the Western Division. And they came in here with a very punishing run game, a physical run game. But on the other side of the ball, they came with a defense that was pretty finesse, right? Straight from the Big 12. I want to say it was Barry Odom, right? Bringing that defense, that Big 12-style defense. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight, in my opinion, right? If you're going to play physical football like Georgia did. So you see the same deal right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Georgia's smart enough to actually make sure that this particular linebacker here is flexed off because of the alignment of the receiver. So he has to come in and help a little bit later. So you really get essentially 5 men in a box. That means the safeties have to be extremely aggressive. And the same deal happens here. Someone has to be able to get off a block. And, of course, when you talk about Georgia's personnel here, this is not really like it would be this particular game here. As you guys know, some of the pieces are the same here. But, man, you add in a cat like Granddaddy Washington here, baby, and you running with these zones. Almost like an ISO right there. Don't be trying to size up your – oh, Granddaddy took a cold one. Granddaddy, what happened to Granddaddy right there? Granddaddy initially won. Don't try to size up your Granddaddy, boy. Granddaddy here is on the field right there, like a tie out, right? His shit was done, but actually Granddaddy's arthritis kicked in a little bit as well. It looked like something happened to him. Down goes Granddaddy. But you can just see the wreckage and wreckage and carnage there when trying to battle some team that has 5 men already on the line of scrimmage against your 5, and then adding in an extra blocker here, and they could get extremely creative with this. Right? If I was an offensive coordinator, I would eat this shit alive, in my opinion. Right, in my mind. In my offensive coordinator fake mind here, I would actually make this a +1 run game and run a lot with the quarterback, with the running back blocking. You just getting outmanned at that particular point. It's like 7-on-5 or something like that. That's tough to deal with just from a numbers standpoint. You can see right here, Erickson here, he doesn't do a good job to me of comboing up to the next level, searching for something, right? He's a little bit late on that, and you can see the linebacker scrape past him, and he ends up being the one making the tackle here. If you have linemen that can quickly combo up to the second level, get hands on some of these linebackers like that, man, it could be a long day for them in the physicality department here, and Georgia showed that in this game. Same deal on this inside zone play right here. Look, just straight ripping off 5 and 6 yard gains until the dam breaks. Now, they're not even at their best work right here. I want you to notice something. All right, look at back then Schaefer and Cedric Van Pran here. Double at the point of attack, right? They usually have a very stout nose tackle in these type of defense. So you do want to get that initial double at the point of attack. But right here, Cedric Van Pran, once that's done, needs to climb up to the second level and make sure he gets this particular cat right here. Same deal right here. Any of these cats you see who are free, they need to be done for. Jamari Sawyer here doesn't do a good job on this particular cat either, right? He barely gets a hand on him. I think this guy ends up getting into the play right there. You see that, right? He's able to actually stack and shed this block as a guy who's much smaller than a Jamari Sawyer. But Sawyer doesn't really put his all into this particular block right here. But you can see him right there reading it, right? He manned this gap and then shed this, right? It's that gap integrity right there. Then shed this one, discarded it, and he's back in on the play as well. And, of course, you get that weak side help from this linebacker who they have spread out still. So he's going to be a late add, but that's on the back right there. You get a cat like Milton, McIntyre, Edwards. Just keep rotating them and just keep grinding them, baby. Meat grinding, pause, and keep handling it up like that. However, it's the 2023 or 2022-2023 version of the Georgia Bulldogs where your man Todd Monken seems to be going rogue every game. He wants to go downfield. He doesn't want to do the edge-bending passing game along with the run game. There was no reason for them to not run the ball a lot against Ohio State. They were down 2 scores. That's not that much in football, as much as people don't want to admit it. That's not really shit in football. You got to get up 3-4 scores before you say you're handling someone. But a couple of scores like that, Georgia could have stayed the course in that. But it's hard to argue against the results because Georgia's one of the best passing teams in the country. And that's going to be tough for TCU to deal with while trying to stop the run game as well. But I would initially feed them the run, see if they can combat that. And if they have a tough time with that, that passing game going to open up. It just is. Even with all that speed on the field that TCU will have, it's going to be tough for them to keep an eye on the run game and be able to combat that. You want to be able to dictate to the defense. I feel like Todd Monken is letting the defense dictate to him for some odd reason. Remember, Arkansas was getting real bold with it. Even in, like, darn near goal-to-go situations or straight strength-on-strength situations, they still want to run with the 3-down lineman look here and have people just crash the gas with speed. When you get that type of look right there. You want people to angle their body. You want to get big linemen on them and see if they want to meet the funk or they want to turn down the funk. Like this cat right here, he turns down the funk. Look at him crash right there and pick a side. No. My man right here, right? He perfect, right? They double up, right? You got double doubles right here, right? On both edges right here. So you got people singled up right here. This is your gap. You man your gap. But look at him. He approaches, sees Sawyer here, and he wants to get skinny through the hole like he a running back. Look at him try to meet it. Instead of trying to meet Sawyer in a 50-50 exchange situation, he tries to knife a gap. That's what you want on these guys right here. It's a tough defense to stop a run with. It's a dope defense to try to combat the pass with, or if you have guys that have kind of more of a finesse running game. If I'm Georgia, I get into this gangster running game right here, put in guys like Brock Bowers here, Mr. Brock Bowers himself, have him cross formation blocking, ISO blocking, whatever you can think of right there. I would just give them the full gamut pause of the run game. On the back end, you get some flex personnel. Maybe guys with a tweener skill set, guys who can be safeties and can run and hit, because you only have 3 guys up front, and essentially in some aspects, you're working with a 5-man box. So you got guys who can run, you got guys who can chase and tackle, and they will give you a ton of man coverage as well. So they can be pretty aggressive on defense. They have to, because a lot of the times, man, they're rushing 3 and dropping 8, right? You know, I love that. I love that particular aspect of it. And you can't be lazy with stuff like J.J. McCarthy here, or the wide receiver who kind of runs a rounded out route, right? What I tell you about those opposite hash throws. If you lollipop them shits, and if your receiver right here can't break down in space, cut a sharp angle, you run the risk of a pick 6. Finally get to show one, right? After talking about it so many times, out past the numbers, that's how it goes. I've done that myself, picking passes off like that. Hey, they will give you plenty of options, but if you mess up, they will take advantage of it and make you look silly. Now, I don't think too many people can stop Georgia's passing attack, especially if they go with stuff like this. To me, this is when Georgia was at its best earlier in the season. You had that edge-bending perimeter passing game. Everybody keeps asking me, what am I talking about with that? It's stuff like this. You'll see Bad Lad McConkey right here go in motion, and then you'll see him be the fly action player here. You get that plie boot to Kendall Milton here. You get that hard potential zone stretch there, and then they get them matched up in man coverage, but you get that fly motion, right? That quick kinetic fly motion, and the defenders can't do anything with it, especially in man coverage. Look at this. A motion to tight. Look at him. He's stuck in the sauce. He's still on the other side to this day. He's on the other side of the formation asking what the hell happened to his assignment, Lad McConkey right here. Come on. Lad motions the tight right here, looking like he's going to block. You see his assignment right there is man coverage. He doesn't react in time, and he's worried about the run game, which you have to be, especially when Georgia's really pressing you with that. Get that submarine motion, right? That submarine route right there. Lad McConkey out in a ton of space. Same kind of deal right here. You get this John, you get Kears Jackson here in that kinetic motion. You can take the snapshot. You're going to see the split flow action with the potential play action, then get it out in space. Look at all that air space and opportunity right there. And you get to see who can actually tackle. You need to see if TCU can actually tackle, because I believe there's a dearth of good space tackling in college football. Hell, in the NFL as well. I just think people aren't bringing their technique anymore. You get too many people just running and trying to lay people out when it's just not designed to be that way out in space, man. You got to be able to bring your technique. Really love this one right here. Looked like a G League with Xavier Oliver, Isaiah Truss. I still can't remember his name. But it looked like it could be some type of power read as well. So really get that flowing right there, and you get McIntosh here with the give off to your man Brock Bowers here. Come along the perimeter. Nice little pigeon block here by Stetson Bennett. But you get the point on this one right here, right? The make it from scratch game right there. You can see the split flow action, having to respect that run game, getting it out to Brock Bowers, who was hell on wheels out in the oh, down goes Frazier. Like I said before, the little pigeon Brock, right? David downs Goliath, gives him that prison. How Goliath get that prison loving from David right there. But you get the point right there, man. Get the ball out in space. No need to always go downfield if you're Georgia, because you have the type of athletes that are just tough to tackle in space. And you have an accurate QB who is accurate on the run, in the pocket, however you want to deal it. That man is the truth. That passing game is the truth. The running game is the truth. One of the best offenses in college football, period. I just don't see TCU being able to consistently stop it. I can see TCU getting some stops, though, but to me, it all hinges on that run game and then working this type of game. It can just be very risk-averse and really just trying to take it to these guys and see if they have enough bodies to hold up in a physical attack, whether it be through the pass or with the run. To me, the main event is going to be, at least right now, knowing if Georgia is who it is the last couple of games as far as defending the pass, because TCU's passing game is pretty dope. It's pretty dope. To me, they're more of a rushing team, though. I can't sit up here in front like I'm a big TCU guy, that I watch all TCU games and everything like that. I don't. I've probably seen 3 games. I watched the Texas game. I watched a couple of games at the end that would come on before before a Penn State game. And it's always a heart-tugging moment. They have these heart-tugging moment games, which makes me think they're dangerous because they seem to usually win in the end. It's like a Disney moment. The QB's crying, the coach, he's tearing up and everything. So I wouldn't take TCU lightly. I'd have to come back and get on the offensive portion and see if Georgia can possibly defend that guy, Quentin Johnston, and several other players they have there. But they have to establish the run, and it's tough to establish the run on Georgia when they're dialed in. But can Georgia do both? Traditionally, at least this season, they have been able to do both, stop the run and defend the pass, at least against like a Tennessee and some of these other teams, South Carolina, some of these teams who can put it up. But, man, the last couple of games, I don't know. It should be interesting there. But if I don't get to the next one right here, I'll go ahead and make a pick on this one. You know, I never really do these pick things here. But we'll just go ahead and give it to you, all right? I'm going to go something like 37-23 Georgia. Something like that. I don't know. We'll see, though, all right? It's your boy, Mid-Atlantic Murph. Thanks for watching, as always. Salute. Strike the band.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.